What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the You're Still Here podcast. We got another week here in the books. I think rumor has it that maybe we haven't been as positive as one might hope. We are very positive individuals here, just because sometimes, it's like prepare for the worst, expect the best. People say so. So, when we're talking about all those things about summertime potentially not living up to the billing that everyone laid out for it, we're just kind of preparing for you the worst, but then go ahead, go to that beach party. You're going to have a great time. You ain't going to be any sticky sand. You ain't going to deal with all those things that we talked about. It's a great time. You're in the middle of summer. If you're somebody who is doing your master's and you're just hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, at least this is a period where you still get to chill. Summer will always be associated with chilling time. How is it going? Last week was 4th of July. We talked about chestnuts winning. But now, this time, we're going to talk about this episode might be a little more adult-oriented. I told you last week I got to pick my spots when it comes to saying certain things. Sometimes I got to water myself down. Sometimes not so much. I think this is going to be one of those not-so-much episodes. And, it's unfortunate that I tell you, I want to stay out of the news. I want you guys to be able to listen to any episode. You can listen to this in 2027, and it will apply. But, there were a couple things in the headlines, and now that I got someone to bounce some ideas off of, I just have to maybe parlay that into more general talking points. And I'm talking about certain things that are relationship-oriented that were in the news this week. And some of them include none other than these two people behind me, Tom Brady and Kim Kardashian. The rumors are that they are supposedly dating. Who really knows what it is? But, I don't know if it's just coming out of nowhere. And I'm going to give my opinion on this and see what old Tony Twist, how he feels about this situation. What exactly did you see? What did you see about these two? It's obvious. I just searched it on a YouTube video. There's obviously videos talking about it. What is the basic level of knowledge? What does your average person think is going on right now?
Probably some mutual interests. She was supposedly looking for property in a place where he is and all these other celebrities are, just crushing life in big mansions.
If we were to ask 10 people, like, are those two dating? Are more people saying yes or no?
I think most people are saying, I hope not.
That's kind of, I'm in that camp.
That's the camp. I don't think there's yes, they are. No, they're not. I think it's mostly, I hope they're not.
My whole life growing up, there was the big three when it came to dating and being the bachelor that everybody wanted. It was Leo DiCaprio, Derek Jeter, and Tom Brady. And there was arguments, especially Brady was young, Jeter was one. They were winning multiple championships. DiCaprio was in his prime. And if you were like the top hot woman, you were ending up with one of those guys. The question was, which one was it? And I always said, now I was going to school in Boston, and as a New Yorker, people, they thought I was just defending the Yankee. And maybe I actually was a little bit at the time, but regardless, Derek Jeter to me, he was always above Tom Brady. And I'm going to bring this back to how it affects Kim Kardashian and all that in a second. To me, it was always Brady got married and then divorced right away. That's a huge family feud strike against you right there. But then right after that, you had Jeter, who if you literally Google right now, Jeter's starting lineup, it was so acceptable to say something at the time that there's literally, I think, an ESPN graphic that has all of his hottest girlfriends in like a starting MLB lineup, right?
Minka Kelly, Jessica Biel, Jordana Brewster, Mariah Carey.
Yeah, all of them when they were the most desirable. You can argue, no, they're still as desirable today. No, they're not. They're not as desirable today. Everybody just like a pride. I got news for you. I am uglier than I was 8 years ago. I hate to say it, but I was going on auditions for roles where you had to be a pretty good looking guy. I don't see any of those in my inbox anymore. So you just got to face the facts. You start going down a little bit. And when those girls were at their most desirable in their show or the top of the music scene, Jeter was with all of them. And then on a parallel route, you had DiCaprio, who was like the number one celebrity in Hollywood. Him and Brad Pitt were a mini rivalry in there amongst themselves. But DiCaprio was just dating the youngest, hottest model at the time. So that's what was going on between the big three. And then Brady got divorced, ended up with Giselle, and everyone used that excuse. Well, he got the top supermodel. Now, he went with one, got divorced, went with another, and ultimately got divorced. All the while, Jeter was raking up all those names in that starting roster that Twist just named. And then there was DiCaprio, who is still doing it. And if you look it up, there's a graph. There is a graph that shows all of DiCaprio's girlfriends and their ages. I'm not going to speak to the ages and that whole thing because that's a whole nother argument. But my Family Feud rankings were always DiCaprio, Jeter, and Tom Brady. And that has been proven right once again, because when you look at who Tom Brady, who he has at his disposal, who he decided to align himself with, the mere fact, because you know him, he controls the rumors, he controls all the PR about him. The guy played an extra year, I'm convinced, just to announce his retirement on a beach by himself because he didn't like that Adam Schefter did it. I talked about it on this podcast. But now he chooses Kardashian. You look at the Carfax on Kardashian, does that look like someone who qualifies for a DiCaprio, a Jeter, a Brady? And this is where he aligns himself?
Come on.
I never knew Leonardo DiCaprio. He dated Giselle Bundchen from 98 to 03.
He did. And
she was 18 to 23 years old.
And that's the exact time that Leo starts to wrap it up like a movie. DiCaprio, because the industry he chose, he gets to go on and on and on. And what did he do 2 weeks ago? He dumped a 19-year-old. But this is not a DiCaprio thing. It's a Brady thing. Before we started, you were telling me about Kardashians. You were listing some of those Carfax.
Oh, boy. Bad athletes. Or subpar.
Yeah.
Not Brady level athletes.
Yeah. What is
Austin. You
have Miles Austin, a 1 year wonder, kind of got that contract.
She actually married Chris Humphries. You remember him?
Yeah, Chris Humphries, the basketball guy, and then there's other basketball players in there, right?
Reggie Bush.
There's Reggie Bush. Does he really want to be on the list?
Tom Brady can't follow Kanye West and Pete Davidson. He can't be with somebody.
Yeah, because then it's just you're another name. That's just the opposite of Brady. But like I said, he controls his PR pretty closely. Brady, what are you doing, man?
Come on, man.
You just spent a year righting that wrong of allowing Schefter to ruin that at retirement. You did the right thing. I would have come back like a petty bastard and played a year just to announce the retirement once again on my own terms. But now you're going to have to do another year cleanup on this. You're finally free after all this time. You know what I was recently talking about? This is something that I wasn't planning on talking about, but that's the beauty of my haunted house of a mind. We got plenty of things to talk about. Here's a conundrum. You tell me what you think would be better. You're a celebrity pre-Instagram. And so it's not a long time ago, 2008, 2009, 2010. Remember that guy? He got popular on Desperate Housewives, and they made a movie called John Tucker Must Die. John Tucker Must Die. And his name is Jesse Metcalf. Go look at him up. 2000s. You're talking about a mega stud celebrity. He wasn't at his peak around Instagram times. And the reason that's important, would you rather be a guy like Metcalf pre-Instagram or a lower tier celebrity or athlete post-Instagram? Because now you have access to the world. And I say this because a random girl from a random town, 3 towns over from us, I guarantee you there's a smoking hot girl. Well, Jesse Metcalf was never going to meet that girl. He just wasn't. It was impossible. The only people Metcalf could meet was out on his Hollywood extravaganzas. Another catch-22, those Hollywood extravaganzas where everyone wasn't running around with a phone, they could have a whole hell of a lot more fun at. And whoever was there, you had one shot with a celebrity. You're never going to be in a place with it. So you had to launch yourself at him. But now they have access to the world. When they're going on the road to a place, they're going to, Orlando to play the Magic. Oh, yeah. All those UCF cheerleaders, you can go right to their profile. UCF cheerleading. DM, you're probably meeting up with them by the time you're there. And the little glimpse I've gotten to this world, I have a little glimpse. It's pretty preposterous what is available to people. And it's one of those things you don't know. It's like seeing the White Walkers. You don't believe it. You think the stories about Snarks and Grumpkins are all fables and tales. I can assure you, I've seen it with my own eyes. I've shown some people with their own eyes. What's available to even a moderate level of celebrity now is insane. So given that choice, celebrity, a top celebrity pre-2012, or a TV star, not a movie, like a TV star, are you going moderately famous? Sometimes not even very famous. You could even be, social media famous, but whatever,
sure.
Something, a recognizable, verified check mark that's going to move the needle for someone if you show up in that inbox.
I got to be a celebrity before all that. Take me back there.
Is there a specific reason? Is it because...
You know what, though? When you're out there, you still have the people taking the photographs. You're getting them in the National Enquirer, I guess.
Yeah, but let's say there are... there's a group of 9 girls who gets brought to your table. They're not that's part of the issue. Like
true.
if you guys have a private upstairs place at a Vegas club that you were invited to, that whatever
Give me
fun
the
you
pre-social media every time. Athlete, actor,
so
I don't care.
You'll take
I'll be a marginal athlete before social media even. No problem.
It is an interesting conundrum. I really want you to think about this before you submit your answers to a questionnaire that doesn't exist, nor will it ever. But I want you to know or guess. Would you rather be... Instagram's the big one where you can start DMing people like Porzingis did when he was on the Knicks. Would you rather be a celebrity pre-Instagram and go out and everyone probably throwing themselves at you, but your pool is way smaller? Or would you rather be a standard to medium-sized notable figure now and have all of the Instagram DMs at your disposal? And if you know anyone who has anything like that, as I've explained, if you were making a VR video game, like in 15 years, if VR is a huge thing, if you had to create a video game where you were picking up hot girls, it would actually, if you made it the way their lives is now, you actually wouldn't believe it because you're like, no, there's no way this is real. It's too easy. That's how easy it is for them now. So think about that and never let me know. Let me know in the comments. I hate when people do that. When they ask you to do, it's one thing. If you put it in the comments, there's few enough, I'll actually see it. When people who are on these massive channels who are like, just let me know what you think in the comments. Oh yeah, are you just going to go through all those things? You're going to read it. There aren't enough hours in a day. One time in the middle of sports, which I'm going to get to at the end of this, and I got the juices going today. In the middle of the sports seasons, sometimes I'm pressed for time. Remember, until I can just start scraping a little more change together, I got my regular job, then I got to do the videos, and then I had the Patreon. Also, if this sounds a little better today, this is because I use Patreon subscribers. I was able to get a new audio mixer. Anyway, but I don't have a lot of time. And one guy told me he got pissed at me for not answering his DM during hockey season when I was giving all those bets and doing all that stuff. And I just said to, like a week later when I saw it, I said, okay, if I have 57 DMs or whatever, 200 DMs, and each of them take these exact 4 minutes that we're going to exchange right now, how many hours does that take up in a day, and how can I do anything? And then he just responded by insulting me, which is fine. That's just what people do usually when you have the correct answer. There just aren't enough hours in a day. So when I see one of these huge social media celebrities, oh yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're going to go to that thing or not, they're not reading them. And they're patronizing you because they want you to type your comment out so it kicks it up the algorithm and more change in their pockets, just so you know. But that's not the scam of the week. We'll get to that in a second.
It's a scam.
We're focusing on, guys, girls, these two and other ones, and one of those other ones, a celebrity pre-Instagram and post-Instagram. And I think he's actually going to agree with what you said because he's currently in hot water because of Instagram. What did he do? He exchanged text messages with the girl that he was seeing, and then they eventually broke up. And then she leaked the screenshots on Instagram stories, and now everybody. So I don't know the exact specifics other than because by the time a story gets to you, I mean, that's like the game of whispers, and you don't know the true level of authenticity. But as far as you understand, Jonah Hill had a breakup with this girl who's he's just dating a random surfing instructor? Or is she a pro surfer?
She's a pro surfer.
Okay. It's kind of like that movie Blue Crush with Kate Bosworth. I was going to say Boswell. What's Boswell? Is that the hair place?
Boswell.
Bosley?
Yep, Bosley. You're thinking of Roswell, Bosley.
Yeah. When the aliens need hair transplant, they go to Boswell. Help me go back a second.
Jonah Hill is
the Jonah Hill, the surfing instructor, Kate Bosworth.
So, I believe she broke up with him.
So this girl broke up with because he voiced his displeasure about the Instagram pictures that she was posting on her profile because she's in a bikini in a large majority of them. And in this instance, I must say, because people are giving their takes on it, I am going to side not with Jonah Hill on this one, simply because I can't stand anything from the former soldiers that I have to see their imprints on the battlefield, aka friends of mine who I've seen change because the change was forced upon by somebody else. So both ways this goes. If Jonah Hill met this woman as a Kate Bosworth surfing instructor, like in that movie, and then they kind of fell for each other, and she was posting these bikini pics beforehand, posting bikini pics afterward, then that's the cake you bought. You bought the strawberry shortcake. You knew it wasn't cannoli cream. You saw the red on the outsides, and now you're complaining and you're saying, no. That's what you bought, man. And I wish this applied in all relationships, all friendships. You don't go in and say, oh, I'm with that person and I fell for her because of all that. If the ass is what brought you in, well, ironically enough, the ass is what sent you out. But if that's what brought you in, you can't ask for a whole philosophical change around the board. There are some people, you obviously know some personalities change with relationships.
Of course.
I've always thought I'm one of those, it's the blessing and a curse. You can try to change me all you want. I have things, there are certain situations I can't bite my tongue. I have knee-jerk reactions to things that just can't change. There are moldable personalities and not moldable personalities, and maybe that explains why a certain someone isn't one of those changed men with a couple of kids at this point. But I don't like what Jonah... See, but on the flip side, I don't want my girl showing ass on the beach. And by the way, I didn't check any of these pictures, but you have to admit, if there are 10 bikini pictures...
I mean, she's a surfer. It's going to be some bikini pics.
100%. And if it's she's in that pipe... What's that called when they run? Yo.
I couldn't be further from a surfer.
These surfers... What a fake sport. Oh, are they going to be pissed right now? Well, take it easy, Swayze and Point Break. Here's what I've always said about surfing. There's one move. If you're watching a surfing competition, there's one move, the cutback. And you know what I'm talking about. You don't watch surfing. He don't watch surfing. I don't watch surfing. But all of you know the move because there's only one. If you do the move, you're a good surfer. The only other thing, and this is for casual surfing, is when you go in the pipe and you scratch the surface on the floor. And I don't doubt, by the way, probably an exhilarating experience. But when you have everyone fighting for ways all to do one move, I kind of put it more into a pastime than it is a competitive sport. If 4 people catch a great wave and all do the move. Who's winning the competition? Yeah. If there are pictures on this profile where she's just readying the board, even if it's staged, she's readying that board to go out. But if she's like on a towel doing like with her feet up with just the ass cheeks out, that really doesn't have much to do with the surfing profession. So I must say I'm not very well informed on the ratio of pictures because don't think it does get all these minute things count. You know, when I used to bring the RUP percentage, the relationship upload percentage, when there's a disparity between the guy and the girl, then there's an imbalance in the relationship. You'd see that. The hot girls, oh yeah, the guy gets the one courtesy pic for his birthday. That's about it. And still you can't really tell if they're actually together. The guy, every other, he's a 50% upload. On the girl, 1 out of every 35. When there's disparity in percentages, that's where you get to the truth. I would like to see the surfing shots, but regardless, if she was doing that before him, she gets to do it during him, and now she gets to do it after him. Because also, I wouldn't like that stain on my name where I don't want someone calling me out for archive. Oh, you archived the pictures. And then when you got out of a relationship, you unarchived them. So somebody coerced you into archiving their pictures. And now we're branching into that other people changing you into somebody you weren't. So on this particular scenario, I'm taking the side of someone whose name I don't even know. Kate Bosworth from Blue Crush.
Blue Crush.
Now you're...
Sarah Brady is her name.
Are you on the other side of that? It's all right.
There's a lot of sides. I mean, he's clearly just a self-conscious, very worried about what people sliding in their DM because she looks good. You lost the weight. You got tatted up.
Is there a weight dynamic to this?
Could be. I mean, he's lost weight. You know,
I will
he's
say
done a
this.
lot of good movies. You know, what are you so worried about, huh?
If there is a weight dynamic, it would make sense because I received a call from one of our other friends. Our friends, make no mistake about it, this is how you know they're your true friends, as I'm just going to say this about them, and I'm not going to worry about any consequence because they all know it's true, but the majority of my friends are rather large. They're big. Yeah. Like if you saw them all at the beach, you'd say...
Like the movie Heavyweights.
They're big. That's all I'll say.
I mean, they've all actually looked like Jonah Hill at one time in their life.
Yeah. So if you can actually picture what Jonah Hill looks like in some of those movies, that's kind of the majority of my friends. And I had one call me this week, and he said, Andy, do you know how happy I was to hear your complaints about the summer and say that you hate the summer? And I think I have the quote, but I'll just kind of paraphrase what he said. He's like, all fat people hate the summer. We all hate the summer. You know why? Because we don't want to take our shirts off. But this is something that we don't readily admit to people. We may go, I know I don't like the summer. But the fact that now look, I've been in way better shape, but I still am in the regular variety as of right now. He said the fact that you hate the summer for these reasons, he would never use this terminology, but lends credence to the fact that I don't like it. So now when I say it, I can be like, he hates it too. And it validates it rather than he doesn't want people to think, oh, they're going to look at me and say, oh my God, I'm fat and I don't want to take my shirt off.
He's going to show you 5 other people who hate the summer and they're all 400 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I crossed like the picket line or something. It's supposed to be all fat people on one side and all skinny people on the other side. And he was so proud to have me. What did he actually, part of the quote was, I'll try to rip this quickly. He said, you give me hope because you're someone who isn't fat that doesn't like the beach. And that makes me happy. So I give fat people hope for the summer because now you get to know there are other reasons other than that one that you've been focused in on. Now, just as a thought experiment, try using those other, but I hate that saltwater itchiness that I get now. Yes, I have sensitive skin. Yes, I have to use Gold Bonds cream after the shower, but it is a level of disgust that I hate because then the sand sticks to it and it's just itching on it. There's a saying called a 7-year itch, right? Yeah, there's a saying. It means something. But whatever, I'm going to call it the 5-layer itch when you get out of the beach. It's disgusting. So all you fat people out there, claim it's the itching, claim it's the sand. You had a bad experience one time. You stepped on a shell. You needed stitches on your toes. Point at something that just is like a normal crease and be like, yeah, that's where I had the stitches. And then maybe that can get you off the hook. But that was that was pretty good with
a lot of people commenting on the weather. The beach, the heat, the humidity here.
It's been a preposterous stretch, but I just don't want to harp on it too much because then we're going to be the miserable summer podcast. And for what it was worth, the humidity dropped down. I lived in Florida this past year.
We're not the only ones. I spoke with someone from Minnesota who is visiting here. And when I asked them how their trip was going, the first response I got was, humidity is a real thing, followed by this is a 2-shower-a-day type city.
That is incorrect, though, because I lived in a twice-a-shower. I lived in Florida, and the way I looked out the window in September was like how you would see John Connor looking out at a nuclear holocaust when Skynet deployed itself and nuclear bombs were shot off everywhere. That's what I looked at. It is a level of stickiness and disgust that, yes, it showed its face in New York the last 9 days. And even I'm surprised. We've dealt with hot summers, but it's the sheer humidity. Today is like 90 something, but there's not as much humidity. You're not going to get many complaints out of me. I'll deal with heat. Nope. Get the heat and mosquitoes away from me. But then again, that same friend sent me something on Instagram. These Alaska mosquitoes, people are wearing jackets on. What are these nuclear mosquitoes that are up there in the cold?
Oh my God, looked awful.
Cold weather mosquitoes?
Oh, Jesus. Now I can't.
Oh my God, and then I watched a Bear Grylls video because I was looking for a different part of the episode, and I opened this piece of the episode, and he said that
the air is thick with mosquitoes.
You do have to be worrisome about like snakes. He listed all the animals, but the things that will really get you overnight and falling asleep in this jungle are the mosquitoes.
The longer I'm out here, the greater the risk.
The thing that he built was to keep away the mosquitoes. What he did was
all these animals.
He found wood that termites had fully destroyed.
This stuff,
like, it has a distinct look. Wood that termites have done a number on.
It's termite crap.
And then burned that while he was sleeping because that scent keeps away mosquitoes. It's like a natural raid.
Can we ship away for this wood? Start burning it everywhere we go. I'll carry a piece with me.
We're just going to have it lined around here. All that wood.
And in effect, it's termite crap.
But going back to some of the stuff with the relationships, I have different stuff. I haven't been in many extended relationships. Because my personality doesn't change as much as some of my other friends who can. You ever get those friends who change voices depending on who's on? On that. See if you can make this work. Hit the page over to the point where it says like voice changer, or there's going to be something like that. Keep going.
Voice disguise.
Yes. Voice disguise. You ready?
Voice disguise.
You ready? This will be your friend. Oh, hey, what's going on? Oh, yeah. We should go to that Real Madrid game. Yeah, I heard they're coming into town. And then they get a call from someone else.
This is actually going to sound real weird if it's me talking to my girlfriend just sounding like I'm in disguise.
It's not a good...
Oh, hey, baby, how are you? This must sound preposterous. How are you? You want to... You ever get that? All right, you get it.
You ever get a friend who changes voice? That must have sounded ridiculous. Well, that's me sounding like you.
People like to say I change my voice when I call on the phone. I try to sound more.
Oh, you try to sound cooler?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, like a radio. Well, you have a natural radio DJ deep bass voice. That's a gift. Trust me. I sound like a random complainer from the outskirts of New York with a half changed accent. I'll take your freaking deep bass voice any day of the week. But those people who change voices, like, their girlfriend, oh, hey, Adam Sandler in, what's the one when he has the kid and he adopts the kid?
Yeah.
Is, come on. Come on.
God.
No, it Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
That's how I need
Give
tricks to
me
trigger my
1
mind.
second.
I need tricks to trigger my mind. But he gets into a fight with his girlfriend, and he's like,
You know what? You're a lousy kindergarten teacher. I've seen those finger paintings you bring home and they suck!
And he hits the intercom.
I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean that. I think they're excellent finger paintings.
Well, somebody who changes voice, I've always said that's your tell. If you want to know which one of your friends are going to change down the road and their wives are just going to mold into whatever they want, the beat dog that just hangs in the back of the airport on a leash, it's the one who changes voice on the phone. I haven't been able to do much of that changing. Not a lot of, I'm like a Play-Doh that doesn't stay in that molded form that you had it in. It just falls apart. And that has led me to kind of bail out of things for a multitude of reasons. There's one, I told you about the devil's advocate girl, where she just argued the opposite side of a point. And then I would just spend a third of my day's energy rebutting her point. And then after I essentially got my point through, he goes, yeah, I know, I was just playing devil's advocate. Thank you. Now, can you return all that wasted energy that I just spent on that? This one was for a completely different reason. This person demanded lube like I was on Double Dare. Like I got slimed. What is all this lube? I get it. Lube, when you think about KY Judge, sexy man. I can't handle all that slime. You can add that to my list of the complaint every day. We had that debate. I was like, look, I can't do this. She's like, I need lube. I was like, look, man.
So I guess a squirter's out of the.
God gave you the ability to lube. Okay, we're not bringing in external lube. So it shows you how good of a job I was doing. Huh?
Oh boy, man.
When I come into your bedroom, you're going to need some lube because I ain't bringing it for you. Time to lube up our scam of the week.
It's a scam.
That's a scam.
What a scam that was.
So this was all a scam, huh?
This week's scam of the week, and I know you've heard it, and if you haven't because you're younger, and there are some college listeners, you will hear about this. Marrying your best friend. Oh, you've heard it. Oh, because I found my best friend and I married him. You hear this uttered all the time. Well, you guys listening right now, you gals listening right now, all two of you. Think about your best friend. Think about the things you've shown each other. Think about the things you've done with each other through the years. Think about the nasty thing you can pull out on your phone right now. You think I want that kind of relationship with my significant other? No, it's a figure of speech. No, it's not. They say you wanted to, I'm with my best friend. No, I'm not. My best friend, I've heard of people who, after they go on a vacation with their friend, they actually don't want to see them for 2 weeks to kind of delete the level of disgust in their mind and their body from what they've done to each other, from eating to other activities. You do a number when you're with your best friend. I want a relationship to be you actually start with the best friend and you take a big leap over to the other side. Many things that my best friend is suitable for. Yeah. That's your best friend? Yeah. I can hand my best friend my phone. I'll live with the results. Yeah, go hand your phone to your significant other right now. No, but 20 years of marriage, they won't hand that phone over. And now they go, yes, they do. Well, that's because the guy stored the other stuff on the iPad. Marrying your best friend.
Marrying your best friend. I think a lot of girls think they married their best friend because they really don't have any other friends. So that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Very tough to have girls. They find it very hard to have close friend groups, you know. So I feel like they probably feel like they're marrying their best friend. You know?
That is true.
Is
We've seen a couple different weddings where the guy's side they're just lined up with friends down the block. Many on the girl's side, they have to start picking people from the guy's side. You see a sister in there, you see a cousin. They're plucking people like a draft, just to fill up the other side. There is a weird thing. Oh my God, this is so sexist. No, it's not. No, it's not. There are so many instances where you see someone like, oh, she's my best friend. And then all of a sudden you check in 2 years later, they never talk to each other anymore.
Yeah.
Guy friends, oh, your grandfathered in, you can commit heinous crimes. And your friends stick by you for whatever idiotic reason. Not saying that that's the best thing. But yeah, that is a great point. Maybe they're your best friend. Because you're filling that gap that hasn't existed in a few years. I'm going to start asking her, hey, who's your best friend?
Probably.
Start asking single girls or even girls, hey, who's your best friend? See if they have an answer or they start looking up towards the sky.
It's tough.
And I will accept, oh, well, you know, there's like me and my 2, 3, like small groups of cohorts in there. But, you know, there are concentric circle of friends, level 1, level 2, level 3. It's kind of like in our fantasy football league. Like, you know, you have your close alliances, your loose alliance, and then by the end, you're just
if
an
you're
acquaintance.
like me, you're in everybody's alliance.
Yeah, you're the, and for Game of Thrones people, I was just, as I was building this studio, I just put on, I just let Thrones run in the background, and I was reminded of so many things, which is why I talked about seeing the White Walkers and Snarks and Grumpkins before, because I just had it on over the last couple of days. But help me.
Game of Thrones.
No.
Fantasy football. I'm in every.
Peter Baelish. This guy's wheeling and
Wheeling
this is
and
the
dealing.
best, if nothing else. This is one of the best reasons to have you here. I walk into a room sometimes. I'm like, why the hell did I come in here? And I just have to leave and go back, and then I'll remember later. Oh yeah, I needed that thing.
Yep, I got you.
So. Yeah, you are the Peter Baelish, man. You will shake the, oh, yeah, we're good. Yeah, you got my 5th round pick. And then you will see that 5th round pick traded
We're
later.
months away. I already know who everybody's drafting. I've had individual conversations with everyone.
Yeah, there is a certain level of politics, and I like to think that I'm somewhat of a Stark in that league where I'm trying to do things in a way that is nice and doesn't really rob Peter to pay Paul, because we've had a few Peters in this league, or should I say, we've had Peters, Pauls, and everything in between. But, you know, another mark of good friendships is that you guys hate each other. Like we say many bad things to each other in the fantasy football chats, which is another reason how you know you have many best friends, many of which you're not going to marry, many of which you would never. The things I've said to people, not so much for me. I mostly run the league, so I'm not allowed to make as many direct insults because then that's clear favoritism. But there have been some solid insults in that league. The same insults that I don't want to levy at my wife. So go ahead and marry that best friend of yours. So we're talking about football, but before we get to that, the last thing that I want to say, you know, you talk about fantasy, screwing this, people running deals, I am in a curb your enthusiasm type conundrum. And I just want to remind you, 2 instances, things that I've said on this podcast appeared on that show after I said them. Are they secretly keeping track of these episodes? No. But when you're watching this show and is saying, you know, is this guy actually pretty funny? I don't know. I never really heard of him. That's how I know that it's just a matter of time, because stuff that you see between me and you has ended up on Curb. I invented playing the Academy Awards music to wrap up a speech. I did it on Thanksgiving. I downloaded the Academy Awards walk-off music and played it because somebody was giving it I'm thankful for that. They just kept going. They were going down. So I played the music. And what did Larry do in that one season? I think it was the last season. He introduced that as a concept. And then I said to you, make sure now, because of all the cameras, even even if you're a guest at a wedding, you don't know. You're just a guest and you don't know anybody there, including the people who are getting married. You do a smile and fake clap because after they review their own wedding video, they check that wedding hashtag, even though those don't exist anymore, but they're doing the rounds to see other people's videos of their wedding. And if they see you in the back checking your DraftKings score, they're going to be pissed off. And both of those ended up on Curb. And now maybe this one too. If they say John the Can Man, it's pretty funny that I said that and you remembered what it is. Well,
of course. Can't forget.
We have a guy, and there's nothing wrong with this. He collects cans in the test. So if you put your recycling bins out.
Every town's got one.
Every town has a John the Can Man.
Multiple, probably.
Like the same way Freddy Krueger said, every town has an Elm Street. Every town has a John the Can Man. We have ours. No problem giving this guy my cans. However, we have a little issue now. I have many things in my recyclables, especially with me building this. So I'm folding things and wedging them to have a truly full blue recycling bag. So I put it out there, and this guy comes on there, and he has to open the recycling bags. So he wants to see what's in there. This guy's undoing my boxes, and it looks like a mess after he's done with it. And then the recycling guy comes in the morning, and now I'm the guy who didn't do his recycling bins properly, so I'm on bad terms. And you never want to be on bad terms with the garbage people. Trust me when I tell you that. Because when you have that big TV that needs to be, they're going, oh, no, this one doesn't. No,
you got to call that one in.
Exactly. They're going to make you file something with the town. They always, you have to schedule a pickup for large items.
File a town, make sure your neighbors don't mind.
Who schedules pickup for large TVs with the town? That sounds like a scam in and of
Our
itself.
friend's father has been throwing one item out a week for the past 6 weeks because they cleaned out an old bedroom set.
I'm currently in that process. Yo, because we have a large items one night a week, so you can't just do it on garbage nights. And I have an old weightlifting set. Yo, I'm putting out barbells and dumbbells, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm embarrassed. I really am embarrassed. And then on the same day, recycling is the same day as that. They see my ripped up bags. I believe it's going to affect me, and it's going to encourage them to not take the item.
They're
I feel
gonna
like
start
every
missing things.
heavy item is a 50-50. They're like, all right, are we going to do it today? We're not going to do it today.
How's your back feel today, Jim?
Exactly.
Nah, forget it. Remember that mess he left us?
And that small excuse.
Remember that mess he left us that day?
Small excuse that they need. They're just looking. If you have, there's not even a proper Boy Scout not on the top of that. Not leave it. So this guy, John the Can Man, ripped up the bag, and I get it, but I tuck things in there. I don't want to be wasteful with my recycling bags. And now what I do is I take out a decoy recycling early. So I use a cardboard box to put other box-like stuff in, and then I place that out there. And I put it in the colored bin where it's like, oh, those are the recyclables. And because I work late and I'm up late, look at me and listen to me, in the middle of the night, and I mean the middle of the night, I come out with the can bag and
It's too late for John.
yeah, I know John has done the rounds. Why? Because like a raccoon, I look at the other bags and I see which ones are ripped. I know that John the Can Man has been around.
A little bit scattered outside of each one, up and down the block.
And now my life, once a week, I'm in a game of mental chess with John the Can Man to avoid his rips in the recycling so that they don't have a reason to not pick up my big items that I've been needing to take out. That's where I find myself right now.
In a battle with the Can Man.
I was going to go into some bets because I know, man, I know some of you guys, I know you came here from the channel and you know you want it. It's so early, but you know what? Why don't we talk a little bit about what we did the other day? Tony Twist may have the name of a hockey player, but you're not going to get much more of a bigger NFL fan out there. And like me, he partakes in DraftKings, partakes in, sports betting. And I only do NFL, NHL. I know he experiments with golf because he's a big golf guy, but NFL is something that we agree on quite a bit. Oh, yeah. And what we do, we were looking at some of the totals and benchmarks. So why don't you pull up some of the season ones, the same type of ones, whether you want to go back to the win totals? Weren't there other season-long props that you were thinking about?
You have the win totals. I love win totals. That's like the funnest game to play. Over-unders.
Okay. How about this? Why don't we go with some, like, while you're looking on there, ones that are notable, because, we kind of talked about it. Like, for example, the first one, the Minnesota Vikings. They won their division last year. And by the way, if people are coming for chuckles, I saved this to the end for you. You can effectively end this if you don't want to hear about sports. So the Minnesota Vikings, they won their division last year. How many, what do they have, 12 wins? They won their division. Aaron Rodgers just left the division. You can say Detroit's on the rise all you want. We've been hearing this for decades. But
is Dalvin Cook gone yet?
Yes, he's a free agent.
Free agent.
He's gone. Yes, Dalvin Cook is gone, but obviously they have Justin Jefferson.
Updated odds here.
And then TJ Hawkinson. But before, I'm just laying out why I think this one is suspicious. But Green Bay without Rodgers, Detroit, who's a perennial disaster. I know they played good. They're probably going to be pretty good. And then the Chicago Bears, who people are just magically inventing that Justin Fields is going to make some huge leap. Remember, they lost a ton of games, and then he had a couple of individual performances, mostly in losses. Thinking he's just going to take a big jump after that is just that classic overreaction that the fantasy community and sports betting community always does. So the Minnesota Vikings win total is
8.5.
And remember, there are 17 games now. Yeah. What would you put they would have to go 8
definitely
and
over that.
8 and 9. The only worry I have, you NHL guys know, I don't worry about rats too much in hockey. That just smells fishy. If I were to say to 10 people, 8 or 9 are going to say, oh, they should do over that. So I am a little worried. However, for season long, you don't feel like you got ratted. It's not like a rat game has to get you quickly, but something like season long, like if Kirk Cousins goes down, you go, all right, and you can never anticipate that. But that's one that just jumps off the page as weird. We both are going to prematurely take the over on that. Obviously, some things could happen between them, but that's just my thought on that division. One of the other ones that kind of sticks out to people that they're going to take the over on is the Giants. Now, the Giants had 10 or 11 wins.
Why are people going to do that?
I think the Giants were 10-7, made the playoffs, first year under Dable. They won a lot of close games. I'm not a Daniel Jones guy. I don't think they're going to do well, but
it's
most
actually
people,
a pretty low score.
Exactly. Yeah. Most people see these things. The Giants, Daniel Jones had his best year. They had a great record. It's the same team. And now, even if Barkley signs, I assume he's going to play because running backs
doesn't matter.
They can't hold out all
year. Darren Waller's their only receiver.
It's the same cast of same cast of guys out there, and they have the win total at
7.5.
7.5. So your average for 10 wins. They're going to look down all those wins.
As a Cowboys fan, I hope they win none.
Just remember that division: 2 against the Cowboys, 2 against the Eagles, and there's the.
They'll split with the Commanders.
Forgot their
currently
name for a
Commanders.
Second. Yeah. But the fact that they eked out so many close games, what you saw in that Eagles game, I'm telling you, that has the possibility to happen a whole hell of a lot more. There is a chance Daboll is just great and maybe they take another jump. I don't think so. I think this looks more like when they had that 11-win year, like 7 years, that one Eli year, and then they went back to garbage. So I would stay away from that one.
Another one that I think is, you might be on the same page with me. I'm not sure. LA Rams. What do you have there over under at?
I would think around 8 wins. And go ahead, hit with that really low number.
It's 6.5.
Okay, so for some reason I thought it was even lower than that. But when you have Stafford, who won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, threw for over 5,000 yards multiple times in his career, and you have Cooper Kupp playing healthy, they brought one other receiver in there, but I don't think it was somebody truly notable. But regardless, when you have a quarterback of that caliber and you have a head coach with, I mean, was that his first losing season? I'm pretty sure Sean McVay has won every single year.
I'm sure that was.
Yeah. So to only have to clear 7, you said?
Yeah, 7.
Okay. So it's weird.
And they still have a good defense. They've lost a couple pieces, but it's not like they forgot how to draft or, you know what I mean? They're
they gave away all their picks for 10 years, but I mean, yeah, they still have Donald. They should be able to get some pressure. It was the offensive line that was a huge issue last year. We'll see. But yeah, I would lean towards over on that one too.
Your old friend, Derek Carr.
I'll always go under on him. But
9.5.
Oh, 100%.
New Orleans Saints.
I mean, he's Mr. 500. And now that you can't go 500 in the league anymore, yeah, you know what? Watch him. He's going to go 8-1. Oh, yeah, he'll get it. Didn't he have a tie? I think he's had a tie too straight. This guy.
He'll get the tie. And he's probably not going to have Kamara to start the season, at least a few games.
What are the Patriots?
New England Patriots, 7.5.
Yeah, I weirdly think that's right. I think a lot of people are going to take the over, and I do like Belichick a lot.
He can squeak out maybe 8 wins.
I do think there's a chance he could squeak out 8, but I'm not going to give him 9.
It's got to go 8-9. Bill Belichick.
That for me, that's the classic stay away. The minesweeper, put the flag on it. I would put them at 7 or 8.
Mac Jones.
It's just that now they used to be able to bank a couple. They beat the Jets twice last year.
Yeah, and they come in
and they beat the Dolphins only when Tua didn't play. 0-3 in those other. I mean,
they bring in a random backup quarterback you never heard of.
Yeah,
he does good for a game,
and they beat the Jets on like the last play of the game. I think so. Those are some weird notable ones. And you know what? Maybe next week. I think this is good. At the end, we'll talk a little NFL betting as the season.
And on a high note, NFL coming.
Yeah, so we are. What's today? Today we're in the middle of.
We're in the middle.
So about. You just want to get to September 1st. All right, 6. I can't see it yet. You're waiting on line at Six Flags, and you've been on that line for a little bit. You're not at that final stretch yet, but you can kind of hear the rumblings of the coaster at least, and that's where we're at. Everybody, thank you so much for coming back for another week. You get a longer one this. I don't know. Maybe I had the juices flowing because right now I got the sweat dripping because it is hot, not as humid, but still hot as balls, as you can probably see it glistening on my forehead right now. But thank you for coming back. Make sure you're subscribed if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel here and comment and let me know what you think. And if you listen to the podcast, make sure you're subscribed. It's available on all audio platforms, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio. I love music. That's not one, but if there's one, a notable one that exists, it's on there. I'll be back with you guys next week. Anything you want to tell these carnies, Tony?
No, not at all.
All right. Well, from me and Tony Twist, I will see you next week. Take it easy. Have a good one. I'll talk to you then.